This is the bike of reigning Tour de France champion Jonas Vingegaard of Jumbo-Visma. I say this is the bike, this is one of many bikes that he has. Of course, the usual time trial bike. He's got a lightweight climbing bike, the Cervélo R5, but this is one of his Aero Cervélo S5s. And the reason we picked this one out today is because it's got SRAM setup one by, which is still pretty unusual in the World Tour peloton, but Jumbo-Visma seems to have embraced it this year. Now, the S5 frame set is without doubt one of the most aero frames in the pro peloton, but it's also pretty lightweight. I'll tell you the total bike weight in a moment, but I think it's going to surprise you. It's a size 51 that Jonas runs, and he's also got a 14 centimetre stem on there, 40 centimetre wide bar, so still pretty broad. The wheels on here, as you can see, are reserve wheels. Now, they come from the same umbrella of companies that includes Cervélo and Santa Cruz as well. So not an in-house brand, but almost. Now, interestingly, these ones, which are the climbing wheels, so 34mm at the front and 37mm at the back, are fitted up with tubulars. And this is actually the first bike I've seen at this year's Tour de France with tubular tyres on. Apparently, most of the team are running clinchers most of the time, but this set seems to have snuck on Jonas's bike here. And the wheels are super light. They're 1,300 grams for the clincher version. I couldn't find a weight for the tubulars, but you can imagine it's going to be significantly less than that. Now then, the most interesting bit, to my mind, is this drivetrain setup. As I said, Jumbo have embraced the one-by setup so far this season. Van Aert was running it at San Remo, Roglic was running it at the Giro d'Italia, and then Vingegaard himself was running it at the Dauphiné to win a stage on a bike, if not this one, certainly almost exactly the same. Now, what they've got is a 50-tooth chainring up front. They've got the Aero chainring. Now, part of the reason I think they're running one by is for aerodynamics. You get rid of that front derailleur and you clean the bike up quite significantly. It does have a chain catch right there, though. This one is from Wolf Tooth. And it's interesting, obviously, there's quite a bit of debate after Primož Roglic's mechanical issue on that penultimate stage of the Giro. I've literally never experienced road or off-road chain coming off a one-by setup, but clearly I'm not putting out World Tour powers. So it's interesting to see the chain catcher on there. Now, at the back, Jonas is running a 10-36 cassette, which is also interesting. It's the cassette size you'd think, but there isn't one at red level. But given the weight savings that you've got with a red cassette over a force cassette, I suspect that is not your bog standard force cassette. I think there's something kind of cool going on there. But otherwise, it's your standard red group set, top of the range, of course. The only difference being Wahoo Speedplay pedals on there. One final point to note is that the shifters up here are not standard red shifters. They've got a smaller diameter lever body. It's the one that you see on Apex, Rival and Force, but it deviates from the normal red one. So it's a little bit narrower. He's the only rider on the team to be using it. Everyone else is on the standard red, but he's gone for the narrower diameter. Last few finishing touches, we've got a Physique Antares saddle for you, a Garmin head unit, and also whilst we're up at the cockpit here, a nice touch. There's super neat, I don't know whether it's electrical tape or whether it's shrink wrap or what, just to cover over those bolt holes there for extra aerodynamics. Now, I promised you the weight. With no bottles and no head unit, this bike comes in at just 7.12 kilos. Now, admittedly, he's got climbing wheels in there, but nevertheless, for a frame this aero, that's a pretty impressive bike, I think you'll agree. Now, I'm going to leave you with a free hub sound check. Before I crank it up, make sure you get involved in the comments section. Let us know what you think about this bike, particularly the one-by setup and also that super low weight. And make sure you subscribe to GCN Tech as well so that you don't miss any of our pro bikes coming from the Tour de France. We've got plenty for you, so don't miss them. Right then. DT Swiss 180 for you. Swiss precision. Could be here sometime.